Hello and welcome to Blank Plate, a podcast for Swifties with an appetite.
I'm Sarah, and I used to be a little kid with glasses and a twin-size bed.
I'm Laura, and I'm a mess, but I'm the mess that you wanted.
And we've got a blank plate, baby, and we'll write your name.
I was thinking, should I change my sign into I'm Laura, and I'm excellent fun till you get to know her?
That is a good one.
Is it too much? Yeah.
No, but you're excellent fun when you get to know you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I just love that line. I was revisiting the Bolter, and I was like, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
So,
yeah. I do love the Bolter.
It's so good. It was a sleeper hit for me, but now it's like one of my faves from the latter half of the album. So,
yeah, I love it.
Let's catch up.
Yeah. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. My life is in shambles.
Laura, how are you doing?
Not well. Not well.
Yeah.
So when it rains, it pours is sort of like my life right now. I'm not only like in the depths of musical, which is I'm losing sleep. I'm literally leaving our recording session to go thrifting after this. I'm going in tomorrow on my Saturday to go in and program lights. Like my life is basically this show. But in addition to that, which everybody already knows if you're listening to the podcast, I have had a lot of other things in my life falling apart. So my cat is, basically 2 weeks ago, I came in and he was sick. He threw up. He was like basically a skeleton. And it was terrible. And I literally thought we were going to have to put him down because he was so miserable.
Oh, poor Vinny.
We essentially found out that he is diabetic through a series of like trial and error things. The vet is prescribed him some new but basically stuff to firm up his stool, but also changed his diet. And it's basically been a lot of learning. And it's sad because like he's just miserable. So whenever you have a pet, it's like terrible because they can't communicate with you how they're feeling, like what's wrong.
Yeah.
He's better. Like he's definitely what they call a stable diabetic right now, but we're going to have to test him and his blood sugar levels and figure out if he needs to go on insulin, which is probably going to happen. And that just means like for the rest of his life, it's going to be complicated. And a lot of people
have to give him insulin
shots. Yes.
Oh no, giving a cat shots?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound easy.
There are like oral medications now, but I don't know. It's a long story. Essentially, like maybe not give him insulin. We're going to try other forms of diabetic medication that's out there. But, you know, it's scary because you have to be the right kind of candidate and you have to monitor all sorts of things. And it's just like, it's a lot. Yeah. And in the meantime, he's just like hungry all the time. And
I can relate.
Yeah. Like it's like the cat loves the fridge, but like he lives on the first floor now. Like he doesn't come upstairs because he's obsessed with missing the fact that he might get a snack, which we don't even give him treats anymore. It's just like a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I found out a lot of people, because they feel overwhelmed by diabetic treatment, just put their cat down.
Oh my God.
Because it is like, it's a lot of work. It's not like an easy, thing to sign on to. Like we're obviously not going to do that, but we also got pet insurance, which makes this decision a lot easier. Now, this is a whole nother thing. Okay. So we got pet insurance 2 weeks before all this happened, right?
Oh God. Okay.
2 weeks. He was acting totally normal. And they put your pet on like a pause before you're allowed to like file a claim, which, okay, fine. But like, I can honestly say, right hand up to God, we did not know that he had diabetes when we signed up for the insurance. But like now it's this thing where it's like we're scared to put in a claim because so
Uh-huh.
soon, because like now he's cleared.
Right.
And like now they're gonna be like, your cat is diabetic. You knew he had a pre-existing condition, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm scared to put in our first claim and it not be approved. But
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm willing to fight this insurance company, but like who has the
Mm-hmm.
time to do that right now? I
I
don't.
know. Yeah.
So hopefully it just works out. But yeah, my sweet little orange baby is struggling and I
Yeah.
feel for him. But that said, he's not miserable in a skeleton anymore. Like he gained at least 2 more pounds since when we went
That's
to the vet.
good.
But I mean, it's just sad. It's just he's not his normal self, which is
Yeah.
upsetting. And there are other
Oh.
risks with diabetes. Like anyway, in addition to that, one of my family members is also going through it. My uncle, who is an absolute legend, spent a lot of my summers as a child with him and his daughters, is now in hospice.
Mm.
Um, and I found this out pretty recently, and it's just been like really hard. It's just,
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
there's like no words because you don't know what that means. It might mean, he might have a couple months. He might be in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of pain. We just don't know. Um, but my mom's side of the family is super tight knit. So it's just been like devastating for my aunts
Mm-hmm.
who are all very close. My mom who helps
Mm-hmm.
babysit his grandchildren.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm.
just been like a terrible series of weeks for me. And I'm like barely hanging on. So yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like I go to work and I like don't think about it. And then I get home and it's just like too
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
it's just too much. So sometimes I'm just like trying to keep myself busy for the sake of like not completely falling apart.
Yeah.
But like that's pretty Capricorn rising of me to like take all the time that I have to like work
Yeah.
and not feel my feelings.
Oh, yeah. I totally do that too. Like, if there's something I just don't have, like, the emotional
Yeah.
bandwidth to process, it's like you do kind of like
Yeah.
compartmentalize and turn it off because you're like, I literally can't handle this right now. So I'm just going to
No.
do everything else to keep my brain busy so I don't have to think about it,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So like uh I just feel like a lot of my life feels out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like that feeling. So that's been
Yeah.
hard. But yeah,
I
that's
feel
what's on my
that.
plate. Just a light, happy thing for us to start our episode on. So hi
Right.
guys. Welcome back to the pod.
Oh,
Yeah. So
oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I hope you have good updates. What's going on with you?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good. Although, like, yesterday morning, I did literally wake up crying because I had a dream that you told me I was being rude.
What were you doing?
I, like, asked a question of, like, one of our other friends, and you were like, Sarah, that's so rude. And I was, like, so distraught.
You're like mortified.
Yeah. And it was funny,
Oh
too,
my
because literally
God.
the night before I had dinner with one of my best friends, Abby, shout out, who I hadn't seen in person in like 7 months or whatever. And I was telling her how like I'm on like hormone replacement medication technically right now for like my
Yeah.
menopause stuff. And I was like, yeah, it basically acts like Zoloft. Like I can tell my mood is much more stable. And like, and then the next morning I literally woke up crying. It's like,
Paranoid, distraught.
yeah. Today I'm super anxious. I'm like, okay, I spoke too soon.
Oh my God. It's like
Yes,
when you're ovulating, you're like, oh, I'm hot. I like
exactly.
together, and then like you crash. Yeah. Welcome to being a woman for
Right.
real.
Oh yeah, you're like 1 week you're like, I am so hot and smart and I have so much energy, and then 10 days later you're like, I don't even recognize myself. I'm the ugliest
Leave
person
me
I've
here to
ever met.
die.
I have no energy and I hate the world.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah.
Totally. So anyway, aside from that, I've been like pretty good. Let's see. Josh has been back and forth between Harrisburg a ton. I haven't been going with him like the whole time because there's not enough for me to do at the office. And I honestly have a lot to do here at home, like especially with the podcast. So I'm like, sorry, can't go the whole time. But I've
got
still
things
been
to
going
do
for like one day a week to be out there with him and stuff. Been watching Love is Blind, listening to the new Tate McRae album.
Love
Which
it.
I don't know how you feel about Tate McRae, but
I don't really know. I don't really know Tate McRae's music. I know her for her dancing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's an incredible dancer.
Yeah. I listened to a podcast she was on. She's on Las Culturistas, which is one of my favorite podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's new. It came out this week. Yeah, you should listen. I like her based off the podcast. So
yeah. I do like her. I love her music. It's certainly not like I don't love her music the way I love like Taylor's music, obviously, or Gracie Abrams or Sabrina, but like her albums are just a vibe that I love to just put them on as background music and I can listen to it on repeat and just vibe out. And this new one called So Close to What is like, it's delivering for me in the same way. So I'm here for it.
Apparently she's her co-writer on that album is one of the same co-writers as Sabrina Carpenter.
Actually a couple of them. Ryan Tedder is a huge collaborator of hers. He's from One Republic, right? That's his band, but he's actually more of like a songwriter, but he's worked with Taylor on 1989. He's a huge hit maker. But Tate also worked with Amy Allen and Julia Michaels on this album. And I love both of them.
Yeah, the ladies.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then otherwise with me, been like finalizing stuff with moving forward with egg donor IVF. And actually today, I just sent the money for my human eggies.
She paid for them eggies today, Lord.
For my eggs. Which like, I keep saying like, people are complaining about the price of eggs right now. And I cannot listen to it. Okay. Don't talk to me about the price of eggs until you've purchased human eggs. Okay. Don't talk to me about it. Yeah, but it's been a crazy like 2 days because yesterday I signed all the paperwork for my loan and got the money moved to my account yesterday. So for like 24 hours, I was like, I am so rich.
Rich, honey.
And most of it is already gone now. So yeah,
bye.
There it went. But yeah, so it's exciting though, because once they've been purchased, then it's like they'll be shipped to my clinic and then we get to fertilize them and hopefully get some embryos and then test the embryos and then hopefully put one in me. And hopefully it sticks. So,
we're moving on up, people.
Yeah. And it's so funny too, because like a lot of people are like, well, is this like guaranteed then that you'll like have a pregnancy and like have a baby? And it's like, nope, not at all.
Nope.
We're just hoping for the best here. Yeah. But we should be in good shape. I'm trying to be as positive as possible. So
yeah, I'm very excited for you.
Yeah. It's gonna go better than it did with my eggs. That's for sure.
Hey man, them eggies are paid. They're gonna work. They're working for that paycheck, okay?
Yeah, they better work. So
they better.
Yeah.
My God. Well, we also have a shared, fun, collaborative announcement to make with everybody.
Yeah. So the day this podcast episode comes out, it should be coming out on March 13th. Our Patreon will officially be live with our first bonus episode.
Yes.
Which we're planning to do one bonus episode a month coming out on the 13th of the month.
Yes.
So if you want to check it out and become a paying member for our Patreon, you can find it at patreon.com/blankplatepodcast. And we'll obviously link to it in the show notes. But we have 3 different membership tiers. So Lara, why don't you tell the people what their options are?
Okay, well, of course, our tiers are themed for our girl Tay Tay. For $3 a month, Enchanted to Meet You is where you get our bonus content. Okay.
Well, actually, you don't at the $3
I lied.
a month.
Enchanted. Okay, let me start over.
Okay.
Take two. Okay, so our tiers, of course, are themed for our girl Tay Tay. If you want to support us and just want to throw some love our way, for $3 a month is our first tier called Enchanted to Meet You, which is so exciting. It gets you sort of in the loop about what's going on. And then for $7 a month, you have our Red Lip Classic, where you get access to our bonus content. So this is where we get our bonus episodes. And then Down Bad is essentially the same, but it's $13 a month. This is you basically saying, like, girlies, we love you. We want to send love your way. And of course it's number 13. So if you're a true Swiftie, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, our goal is to have at least one bonus episode a month coming out on the 13th of every month. If you are subscribed to Red Lip Classic, we of course would take any love and support that you would love to show our way. And we also will be doing a preview at the end of this episode, so you can get a taste of our first episode, which is about Us by Gracie Abrams featuring Taylor.
Yes.
And we will be selling individual episodes as things go on. So if there is a song that we discuss on Patreon, you're like, wow, I really want to hear that, but I'm not ready to subscribe, you can buy individual episodes too down the line. So
yeah, you can also be a free member if you just want to like keep tabs on it. For example, buying the individual episodes, but we will also occasionally be doing public polls where you can vote on the song for our next bonus episode, especially because, like we said, you can potentially buy just one episode if you want to. And right now we already have a public poll up for our second episode. So if you want to go check it out, you can vote on that even if you're not a paying member. But yeah, our first episode is about Us featuring Taylor Swift, which we had so much fun talking about.
It was so good. It was so good. I was like, damn, it's not our full episode. Like, it's just like behind a paywall, but you guys, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really fun. And in
the way that go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, in general, these bonus episodes will probably mostly be kind of like that, where it'll be the same format as our main episodes here on the main podcast, but we will be doing non-Taylor or like Taylor adjacent songs, like songs like Us, where she's a feature, but also like other songs by Gracie Abrams or Sabrina Carpenter or Olivia Rodrigo or Chappell Roan, or like just whoever else that we're really enjoying and want to talk about, and who we think that you will also be into as part of like the greater Taylor cinematic universe, so to speak.
Yeah. And honestly, guys, the way that I always view, like, it's weird to like subscribe to something where you pay monthly, but it's basically the same cost as getting a coffee at Starbucks a month. And it literally helps us pay for everything it takes to operate this little small business of ours. So, yeah, we would love all of your love and support, and we want to build a community over there. So it'll be linked in the show notes. If you tap in information about this episode, you'll see it linked. And yeah, let's get it poppin'.
Because also, the more that this podcast grows and the more financial support that we have, down the road, we can increase our content.
100%.
Like, whether that means that we have money to pay someone to edit for us, to take that off our plates or whatever, then maybe this main pod, instead of being every other week, becomes every week, you know?
Right.
So just something to keep in mind. But
for sure,
if you can't afford it right now, which we totally understand, then, just listening here on the free pod is extremely important, and we appreciate it. And just sharing it with your friends and word of mouth and subscribing on YouTube, like all that stuff, following us on social media, if that's how you can support us right now, then that's totally fine. But if you would like to financially support and you're also looking for a little bonus content, then we hope you'll join us over there as well.
Yeah. And like we said, we're going to put a little sneak peek of our first Patreon episode at the end of this episode. So
yeah,
stay tuned. Love you.
Love you.
Okay. Taylor news and updates. All right. So, kind of quiet on the storm front. Oh, it's been quiet. But there are a couple things that have happened since our last episode. Taylor makes funfetti pancakes ? So, we are like foodies who love Taylor Swift, and we know Taylor is a baker and a cook herself. So on Call Her Daddy, Alex Cooper asked Kylie Kelsey if she ever had the pleasure of being served one of Taylor's home-cooked meals. And Kylie responded by saying that she unfortunately was not able to eat when Taylor cooked for her because she was struggling with sickness during her pregnancy. And she said, quote unquote, I don't know that I really ate the meal. This is going to sound terrible. I didn't really eat the meal because I was 8 weeks pregnant. And that was one of those where nothing really sat. And despite that, this was like a totally innocent reason why someone would choose not to eat a dinner. Of course, the world and tabloids spun it to be super scandalous and like terrible that she like didn't eat her food. Kylie Kelsey's a hater, blah, blah, blah. So Kylie took to her podcast, Not Gonna Lie, and said that the home cooked meals that I did not get to enjoy were not because I refused to eat them, but because the child in my womb overwhelmed me with hormones and suggested that I consume anything other than crackers. It might be seen again, if you catch my drift. So anyone who has experienced pregnancy nausea knows that's not a choice. At 8 weeks, that's not a choice. I've known women who've lived on waffles for their entire first trimester. There's women who can only stomach cereal or crackers or pretzels. And you know what? Sometimes that's me. And she said, to set the record straight, she didn't have the dinner, but she did have funfetti pancakes that Taylor Swift had made for her. She said the weekend that we were together, where I was unable to stomach the dinner, I did get a chance to try. I believe they were funfetti pancakes. They were so good. Baby liked them. I love them. They were very, very good. So
yeah. But
why do we have to pit women against women like this? So stupid.
Yeah, she concluded by saying, the thing that bothers me the most about this headline, besides the fact that I directly addressed why I did not eat the meal in the Call Her Daddy episode, is why we're trying to pit women against women. Why are we doing that? That seems dumb and counterproductive.
Yeah. What are we doing?
I love that Kylie uses her podcast to call this stuff out.
Yeah.
There was like a little confusion because Kylie described that dinner meal as a private meal cooked by an outstanding chef. And I couldn't tell if she was saying that there was literally a private chef who cooked them dinner at Taylor's home, or if she's referring to Taylor as an outstanding chef.
I took it as Taylor.
But like, I was listening to the Taylor Watch podcast, and they also took it to mean that it was a private chef. So
I just
don't
feel
know.
like you don't use the word home cooked for a chef.
Right.
That would be like catered, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
Home cooked is like, that sounds like she's cooking, right?
Yeah. It is confusing. Like, it's a weird word choice. Also, I think like when Kylie told this story on her podcast, I don't think she ever says Taylor's name.
No, I don't think she did either.
Funny. So yeah, like she might have just been trying to say like the meal was cooked by someone who's very good at cooking. So like it has nothing to do with their skills. And she also said how was like they had spent the weekend together, or at least like an overnight. So it sounds like they must have like slept over, which seems so fun to me, like a little sleepover with like Travis and Jason and Taylor and Kylie.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Taylor cooked them funfetti pancakes for breakfast, which seems very on brand for Taylor.
Absolutely. She's great at like a breakfast pastry.
Yeah.
Cinnamon buns. She's made, of course, the Pop-Tarts all the football players won't shut up about. Right. And now funfetti pancakes. So our little chefy chef, our little baker.
So yeah, just a fun little story.
Yeah.
Insight. So what is this trademark confusion stuff?
Another thing, long story short, nothing has changed. Okay. But there was some trademark confusion online. TS Updates on X posted that Taylor extended the trademarks for Reputation TV and Debut TV until April 30th, 2027, which originally was for 2025. So back in June, Taylor's legal team filed for the final trademark registration extension. So they can no longer extend it past August 16th, 2025. So technically, everyone's like, well, that's the deadline. Like these two have to be out by that point. Otherwise, she'd have to abandon those applications and open a new one, which, by the way, she totally could. Like, that's not a huge issue. So turns out everyone was like, oh, she extended it to 2027. Incorrect. Turns out that April 30th, 2027, that day is the form that is valid for anyone to use that document to file for an extension. Essentially meaning like you could file for a trademark extension and it would still say April 30th, 2027. It has nothing to do with Taylor's specific trademark.
It just has to do with the form itself.
Right. So someone saw that date and said, oh my God, the extension has been extended. Incorrect. So technically, like that allowance for her to extend her trademark for Reputation Taylor's version includes 10 classes of goods, class 9 being musical sound recordings, series of musical sound recordings, audio recordings featuring music and musical entertainment, downloadable music files. That means that she has to release the intention of using and creating music by that point, not necessarily have it out, but that she intends to release this with a date, not necessarily that it has to be out by that date. So the announcements for both of these albums will have to be out by that point, or she will have to file a whole new trademark, which, by the way, she totally still could do.
Right.
So anyway.
By August 16th of this year, she should have, like, one of them will probably be out and the other one should be announced.
Correct. Yeah.
Which makes sense for the timeline that we suspect.
Or she could do neither and just file a new trademark. So it doesn't really mean anything. If you want to clown, yes, your theory is right, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Right.
I don't know. You were so quick with the 2 album, like the theory you have for new album, 2 re-releases, new album, 2 re-releases. So like,
well, I saw that online. It's not mine. It's not my original theory.
But you clocked
I think it makes sense. It's like, but once you see it laid out, it's like, that's probably how it's going to be. But I think we're coming up on 1 year since Tortured Poets came out. And I think I saw somewhere that this is like the longest we've gone without new music from Taylor in like years.
Yeah.
And it's only a year. She used to release every 2 years, and now it's been a year, and we're like starving for new Taylor content.
We're like, she's abandoned us. No, we're just spoiled. We're literally just spoiled.
Yeah. Although I think this episode might be out after it, but the iHeartRadio Music Awards or whatever are in March, and she's being recognized for the Eras Tour as like the tour of the century or something like that. So people are wondering if she might announce something Whether it's...
I think she's going to walk the carpet with Travis. That's my read.
Yeah, because he's also nominated for stuff. And I think these are fan voted, which means Travis is going to win.
And they're both off. Like, they're both not working. So that's my read of all the clowning that's been happening with that.
It will be interesting to see if they walk the carpet actually together, because Taylor's never done that before.
Nope.
And I would totally understand if they didn't. But I think that if they do, that's a big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal. Other than the iHeartRadio, the other rumors I've heard is that Taylor will feature on Selena's new album. No,
I feel like that's a big rumor.
Big rumor.
Big capital R on that rumor.
Yeah. I mean, people have been saying the same thing about Lana's album that's coming out in May, I think it is.
Okay.
Big rumors. There's no substantiated proof. So,
although speaking of that, I am obsessed with this Selena and Gracie song. Call Me When
I'm
You
not.
Break Up. I know you're not.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
I love it. Like, I've listened to it on repeat several times. Because it's so short.
It is short. Maybe I'm just not in the right headspace right now.
That could be
I can't process it, enjoy it. I can't be there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more at the song that we're doing today. Yeah, I'm in more of like the I look in people's windows vibe, not Call Me When You Break Up vibe. So I don't know. I need to revisit it. But anyway, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. But it is on our poll for what our next Patreon episode will be.
That is
true.
So
if you guys vote for that, then Laura is going to have to get into it so we can talk about it.
I'm going to have to. It'll be my research. Be my job. Yeah.
You guys can also put requests in the comments of that poll post.
Yes.
On Patreon. So like if, something that's not in the poll that you want us to talk about, drop it in there. We can add it to our list. So
yes, for sure.
All right. Well, let's get into today's song, I Look in People's Windows, which is from Tortured Poets. It's on the anthology side. So released on April 19th, 2024. Although I guess it was technically released on April 20th, if you think about it, because it came out at 2 a.m.
Double album.
So, but you know what we mean. Anyway, produced by Taylor, Jack Antonoff, and Patrick Berger. And Patrick also helped produce Slut from the 1989 Fall tracks. Did those three also write it together?
I remember when we saw Patrick's name, we were like, who's this?
It is all three of them.
Okay, good to know.
All three wrote it and produced it together.
For me, seeing a new name on there, I'm like, okay, where did you come from?
Right. It is interesting to know, like, how does that happen? Was this guy just in the studio that day and then something happened, or was she wanting to work with him and they just only had a couple days to work on something?
I'm all for the OG, well, at this point for me, the OG three to continue collaborating on production, Aaron, Jack, and Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
They're they're the solid trio that work super well. But I love when you add someone like this because it just changes things ever so slightly. Something about this song is different, and I think it's just the production. So having one other player throwing ideas into the mix is really fun. It's still Taylor, it's still Jack. It's just that you have another voice in the room throwing out ideas, and I really like that. And I want her to continue to throw these people in there and see what happens. So
definitely.
All right. Personal associations with this song.
All right, Laura, I want you to go first because this was one of your favorites right away.
Immediate hit for me. I love how short it is. don't get me wrong. I love when Taylor just pops off with a 10-minute song or a bridge that just never ends. Like, don't get me wrong. I need all the words. I need the full story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the length of this song being so short kind of proves its own point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're left haunted, wanting more, the same way that Taylor is.
Yeah.
The whole subject of this song, it makes sense that we're left wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
And the production is hauntingly simple.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought that Aaron were involved in this production based off of, first glance.
Yeah.
And it's just like so restrained and beautiful. It's the words, the imagery, like the strings, like there's this feeling of isolation and cold and winter and like, I don't know, there's some special sauce in that production. That's all I have to say. There is something in it. And I was like, I love this song. And immediate early hit for me when it came to TTPD. So that's me.
So for me, it was a sleeper hit. It is now one of my favorites. I do love it.
It's so good.
I grew to love it over time, but especially because you loved it so much. Like, you would text me about it, and when someone loves a song like that, you're like, okay, let me like listen to this differently or whatever. But one day I listened to it on repeat for a while. Like, I was in my car and I texted you one of our like Taylor car thoughts, like a voice note.
Yeah. We haven't had those in a while, by the way. Like, we need to bring that back.
Probably because the songs are like not new anymore.
True.
Although sometimes we have Taylor thoughts about old songs. That happens.
Yes.
But there was a specific lyric that I tuned into, which we'll talk about. And then I was listening to it like from a very specific perspective. So I was driving and I just put it on repeat to like really absorb this story and think about it from these different ways. So like, I think having that moment with this song made it a little bit more special to me, but it is, I do love it. It is really special. I think it is slept on by a lot of people, but it is
slept on. It is so good. And I love, like, okay, one thing I love about this analysis that we've been doing on this song is that there's so many different takes. So we're going to get into it. There's essentially like 3 main ways that we're analyzing or like taking the story of the song, and you can read into it a bunch of different ways. You can hear why we feel that way throughout it. So this song could be about one of the 3 following things. 1, literally Taylor walking through the streets, haunted by an ex-lover, wondering if they're ever going to cross paths again. Okay?
Yeah.
Which is so visual. We've all like sort of walked through like, especially in a city when you're like walking and like it's warm inside somebody's house and you can like see their bookshelves and like, it's like you see their life and you're like, it just, that feeling is how that song feels to me. So that's option 1.
Yeah.
Option 2 is social media stalking, which, yeah. And then I also, well, actually there's 4. I lied. There's 4.
Yeah.
3 is Taylor viewing normal lives and her analyzing herself as like the monster on the hill, like essentially wishing that she had a normal life and kind of like knowing that she never will have that. She's always going to be looking in people's windows wanting that and not actually experiencing it for herself. Anyway.
Okay.
And then can you tell us about your other theory? Yeah.
Okay. So the thing that I locked into the one day was the line in this song where she says, "As you boarded your train." Okay. And this was a light bulb moment for me.
Wait, yes.
It like consumed my brain because I was like, as you boarded your train made me think of champagne problems.
Of course.
Took the night train for a reason. Okay.
Of course.
And we know like Taylor loves to give us songs from different parts of the same story.
Yes.
So I was like, is this a sister song to Champagne Problems? From the viewpoint of the person who turned down the proposal, who's like haunted by the what ifs of what could have been if she had said yes instead of saying no. So it's like post breakup after Champagne Problems, failed proposal. She's the one who said no, but she's still like searching for that person in the crowd, missing that person, and just wondering what could have been if she had said yes.
Yeah,
okay?
Which is interesting because that theory, the whole train situation, a failed proposal, saying no, this song is placed right before the prophecy, right?
Right.
Which the prophecy is all about, don't want money, just someone who wants my company. Like, and like, imagine your proposal is turned down, or you turn down a proposal, and like you are singing the song The Prophecy next.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And so the other way we can look at this song.
Which, okay, this is another one. So it's 5.
Okay. There's so many ways.
Okay.
It's a short song, yet there's so much to think about.
I know. This is why it's so good. Okay.
Yeah. So this one I actually got from my friend Steph. Shout out. She's my new Swiftie friend here in the area in Allentown. She and I were texting about this song the one day. And I forget, like, I don't know. I think she must have like texted me a question about it. And I said something like, blah, blah, blah after a breakup. And she was like, whoa, I never pictured this song as being about two people who had been together. She had always read this song as two strangers who like passed each other in the street or like on the train, right? On the train tracks, and had this moment. And I was like, oh my God, it totally flipped this song on its head for me. And it reminded me of a book I read a few years ago that I love called One Day in December by Josie Silver. Okay, listen to this description of this book and tell me it does not remind you of this song, okay? Laurie is pretty sure love at first sight doesn't exist anywhere but the movies. But then, through a misted up bus window one snowy December day, she sees a man who she knows instantly is the one. Their eyes meet. There's a moment of pure magic, and then her bus drives away. Certain they're fated to find each other again, Laurie spends a year scanning every bus stop and cafe in London for him, but she doesn't find him, not when it matters anyway. Instead, they reunite at a Christmas party when her best friend, Sarah, giddily introduces her new boyfriend to Laurie. It's Jack, the man from the bus.
Oh my God.
Okay, did Taylor read this book? Honestly, probably. But
yeah,
I am obsessed now with analyzing this song as you have just a fleeting moment with a stranger where you catch each other's eyes and then you look for them everywhere you go after that.
Yeah.
So we're going to break down these lyrics and talk about all of these options.
All the theories, all the details. So
yeah,
after we go through all of this, you guys, we would love if in the comments or if you send us an email or if you give us a text or a call, what is the right theory to you? Okay? Get
or
involved.
Do you have your own?
Right. Are we so off?
Are there 7 theories about this song?
Yeah. So tell us your take on this song because it is short, but man, it will riddle your brain. So here we go. Let's listen to verse 1 and start unpacking. Here we go.
Okay.
I had died the tiniest death. I spied the catch in your breath. Out, 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 out. I got carried away as you boarded your train south, 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 south.
There's the train. Okay. Okay,
Right.
wait. I added this note.
Okay.
And this again throws me for another loop. Okay. I had died the tiniest death. Now, of course, I read that as I'm dying inside. This is like I am in mourning. Like this relationship ending is a tiny death to me. But did you know that the tiniest death is le petite morte in French? And that is code for an orgasm.
I did not know that.
Okay. I had died the tiniest death. I spied the catch in your breath. So is this a one night stand with this person? Do you know what I mean? That you're
okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Northbound, I got carried away as you boarded your train south. AK, like we had a tryst. I don't know you. And now we don't know each other, but we are splitting ways. I'm going north and you're going south. And I'm always going to wonder what would have happened in this relationship.
Yeah.
Like we hooked up and that's it.
So more evidence in the stranger category.
Perhaps.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So le petite morte is the tiniest death, and that is code in French for an orgasm. Catch in your breath is also low-key kind of hot, sexy. Like, I mean, but then again, like I took this as I had died the tiniest death. Like I am dying inside because this relationship is ending. Catching your breath, I took as someone trying not to cry. Like I had spied that you were trying not to cry. Like you were trying to hold it. You know how like when you're trying not to cry and like your throat is so tight and you're like, like you like
the
try
like
to
frog in your throat kind of thing.
Right. Like that's what I thought of. But now I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
What is
I
it?
think of catching your breath as the little gasp that you make when you're caught off guard by something. Like if you do a little like that kind of thing, little. So that's why I read this as I had died the tiniest death. I spied the catch in your breath. Like you saw someone and you had this like visceral reaction.
Yeah.
And then you see, I spied the catch in your breath. So you see that they're also having a reaction.
We both had a reaction to seeing each other.
I died the tiniest death. Like, oh my God, I'm mortified.
Oh my
like,
God, you're there.
Yeah. That kind of thing. So that's where I think it like that you can definitely read it that way as being like running into someone that you broke up with.
Right.
Unexpectedly. You're seeing them across the train tracks.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this whole train thing, again, took me to Champagne Problems.
Yeah.
This line right here.
You booked the night train for a reason, so you could sit there in this hurt. Bustling crowds or silent sleepers, you're not sure which is worse.
Yeah, to me, this is so devastating with the Champagne Problems storyline to think about. They had this night where they were supposed to get engaged, but instead they broke up. And then you see each other at the train tracks going in opposite directions, which is so symbolic too.
Yeah.
You're going this way, I'm going that way.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Boarding the train is so a callback to Champagne Problems. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, that is not even an Easter egg. That is like a full-blown story.
Yeah.
Being tied to each other.
And then there's like the two former lovers storyline. Like I was saying, like you see each other randomly one day. That's like a punch to the gut. Like assuming like some time has passed since the breakup. Or two strangers, you catch each other's eye and there's like a spark.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it like, I died the tiniest death because like I just saw the love of my life and I don't know them and they're being taken away on a train.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the line northbound, I got carried away could mean like my brain got carried away with this fantasy of a stranger that I'm now in love with.
Right.
There's just so many ways to read this.
I know. It's why it's so
like,
good.
Keeps me up at night.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the pre-chorus so we can unpack a little bit more. Okay.
A feather taken by the wind, blowing. I'm afflicted by the not knowing. So
okay, once again, the simplicity needs to be studied. Okay. She gets right to the point. Our girl said, I'm a feather taken by the wind, aka like I'm getting lost in my thought. I'm getting swept up in these fantasies. I'm afflicted by the not knowing. Like I don't have answers. Like I'm suffering because I don't understand this.
Dude, that's like the story of my life.
Ugh.
I'm afflicted by the not knowing. Like that's anxiety.
That is anxiety. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could be like suffering because you don't know why this is ending, or like, yeah, if it's like after a breakup, like what happened, you know, but also you were here and gone so quickly, a feather taken by the wind blowing.
You're taken out of my hand.
Yeah. And like, I'll never know how you felt in that moment when you saw me. Like for any of these storylines.
Yeah.
It's like you were here and then you were gone and I don't know what it means.
And we'll never have closure. Like, so good. Okay, chorus. Here we go. Okay.
So I look in people's windows, transfixed by rose golden glows. They have their friends over to drink nice wine. I look in people's windows in case you're at their table. What if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time?
Oh, the production is so good. Oh my God. Like it's literally just a bass. It's just.
Is that a bass? I was going to ask you, bass or cello?
It's a bass, but it's like light. You can hear the guitar lightly in the background, and there are like a little bit of stacked harmonies layered in there.
Yeah.
But really, that like hit of the bass
line, it like
punch.
There's something so like addictive about that bass line under there.
So good. I also love the that like leads into the first verse that we hear. It comes back later, but like all these like stringed instruments being used as like these heavy hitters. So good. Yeah. Okay. So wait, when I was analyzing this chorus, I look in people's windows. I was like, okay, like I'm on the outside looking in. And I was like, wait, that's a direct callback to this song from Lover.
I look through the windows of this love, even though we boarded them up. Chandelier still flickering here, cause I can't pretend it's okay when it's not.
That hurts.
Yeah.
It's the same vibe. It's just that this is way sadder. I look through the windows of this love, even though we boarded them up. Okay, like we put a closure on this love, like it is ended, but I'm still looking through the windows.
Yeah.
There's still a chandelier flicking in here. Like I think that there's still hope, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This is someone who's completely devastated, not having that hope. She's looking through windows of other people's lives, thinking like, I'm transfixed by rose golden glows that are not mine. The warmth and connection that I don't have, that other people have, but I don't have.
Yeah. Having their friends over to drink nice wine.
I'm not there, but they have friends.
Yeah. Like watching other people enjoying life while she's just afflicted by the not knowing.
How can people not think Taylor's a poet? I'm so serious.
Rude. So Tell us about Midnight Rain.
Okay. So I look in people's windows, okay, in case you're at the table. What if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time? So I thought of how like Taylor's also used like peering through windows in this line from Midnight Rain.
So I peer through a window, a deep portal, time travel, all the love we unravel, and the life I gave away.
One of her other Christmas songs, remember?
Mary Crimble.
Candy. Yeah. No, I'm so glad you made that note because I've definitely had that thought before when listening to Midnight Rain and I forgot. So when you put that in our notes, I was like, yes, because I definitely made that connection before when listening.
The life I gave away, aka like, I think I could have had that.
Right.
But now I'm on the outside wanting it and not invited at the table. And I'm wondering what it would be like if I were with this person.
Yeah, it's another one of those instances too where it's like, I feel like this line from Midnight Rain. So I peered through a window, a deep portal, time travel.
Yep.
All the love we unravel and the life I gave away. It's like this whole song.
Yeah.
In like one line, just as like a throwaway section of another song.
Sprinkled it in there, said bye. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And the life I gave away. Ugh. Yeah. Afflicted by the not knowing.
Yeah. I gave this life we could have had together away in Midnight Rain.
Champagne
in this
problems.
version, and champagne problems. And in this version, I'm living with the aftermath of that.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Ooh. It hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
Another thing that's going to kill you.
Yeah.
is I look at people's windows in case you're at their table. The juxtaposition of in case you're at the table, like I'm seeing you seated at the table versus this line from Lover.
And at every table, I'll save you a seat. Lover.
Yeah.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah. And so a lot of people are taking this song and the idea of looking in people's windows to be a metaphor for social media stalking.
Right.
And I think that little line right there really lines up with that. Like looking at other people's lives and little windows of like an Instagram post. Be like, am I going to see you with other people?
And we've all done that. Like, who hasn't done that? Where like you go to like a mutual friend's like thing. You're like, oh, I wonder like what are they up to?
Also, this really makes me think about, like, remember how after she and Joe broke up, and it seemed like Joe was everywhere?
Yeah.
Like
all of a sudden he was out
at parties. He's going out.
He's at every red carpet.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you had to pick an ex that this song would be about for Taylor, who do you envision this being about?
It's Joe.
I read it as a Joe song as well.
It's Joe. It's interesting because a song that's been, actually was my number 2 most listened to song in 2024 was Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay. That to me is like kind of similar vibes to this, like social media stalking. But that song to me is about Maddie.
Okay. Yeah.
This is definitely a Joe song to me.
Yeah.
So,
in my mind, this is a Joe song.
Yeah.
If we're reading it from that lens.
Yes. If we're right, exactly. Not
depends
a stranger.
What day I'm having.
Yeah. Now I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, this could just mean like I saw you and now I'm going to look for you in every like grocery store, chasing shadows in the grocery line. Like, You know, like, I'm looking for you. Like, where are you? Like, it could be that. For sure. But for me, I still lean more on this is me wondering about the if onlys. And I'm afflicted by the not knowing of what would have happened if I would have stayed with you or whatever. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Should we move on to verse 2?
Verse 2. Here we go.
You had stopped and tilted your head. I still ponder what it meant. Now. I tried searching faces on streets. What are the chances you'd be down?
The birds?
Okay. The birds at the beginning of this verse, I don't know about you, but I never noticed the birds until that TikToker, Fifi Zappa, who
love her.
Does the like intense breakdowns of the sound of Taylor's songs. I didn't know heard it.
I don't know she did this song, but now I want to listen to what she said.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Because she picks up on really cool things.
She does. And I had never heard the birds until she pointed it out.
See, like, okay, you had came up with this idea of like the birds of like, remember you were talking about like the passage of time? What episode was that?
I have notes about it later in today's document.
Okay.
Maybe that's when you saw it.
Maybe that's what I saw. You came up with that and I was like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think that maybe it's added in there to show, like a passage of time, because then the next chorus is the one that talks about Christmas parties.
Yeah.
So it's maybe like implying that it's more of like a spring or summertime time of year. And then we move through time and then we're talking about Christmas parties.
Right.
But it's so random.
I love it though. It's so weird. I love it. And it's like very subtle, but it's there.
Also, it just reminded me, a feather taken by the wind blowing.
Hello.
Or like, you know, when you see like a bunch of birds were in a tree and then all of a sudden they all just leave.
Yeah. In like a,
Yeah.
You know what? This is the exact opposite in terms of like subtlety than the of the 1989 vault truck.
The seagull.
This is someone took the production. Patrick Berger went into the studio and said, yeah, well, let's add birds. And then Jack was doing his thing and he's like, let's like turn that down just a little. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So you had stopped and tilted your head. I still ponder what it meant. Okay. This is like, again, I'm afflicted by the not knowing. Like, I'm now, you know, like when you have a conversation with someone, like, and afterwards, it's like so intense that afterwards you're like unpacking all the things that, like, you're like, why did he tilt his head? And like, why did he say this? And like, why did he use that word? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you had stopped and tilted your head. I still ponder what it meant. Like, I'm still wondering, like, you had made this, like, you had made this face, you had tilted your head slightly, and it made me wonder if like you're questioning yourself or like, to me, tilting your head is like you had stopped and like tilted your head is like you're stopping and like you're like questioning or you're like having,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's haunted by the idea of like maybe they weren't even sure, like, I don't know, like it's just this thing where I'm like, what's up with tilting your head?
Well, okay. Also, if it's a Joe storyline, from everything that I've read about their breakup, it kind of sounds like, first of all, it kind of sounds like she and Joe may have kind of taken breaks more than once.
Remember when Jack Antonoff dropped the tea that "You're Losing Me" was written way before we thought it was? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah. And then the story of their breakup kind of sounds like like the final breakup.
Yeah.
I think they were actually kind of on a break, but then Joe went and like made it public that he was single. And I think that kind of caused Taylor to be like, you know what, this is over. Like, if it's going to be out there that this is done, like, let's just call it, right? So, but if they were only on a break, then you can imagine that whatever conversation that was to be like on a break.
Yeah.
It's not a hard ending. So if all that speculation about how it ended is true, then yeah, like maybe one of their last conversations in person, there was like, you stopped and tilted your head and like, you know, it was a little unresolved.
Yeah.
Which then this song like makes even more sense.
Right. The need for like a final closure, like that never happened. I'm still searching the streets for your face so that we can have this like closure conversation, and I can know like, oh, you're moving on, or oh, you're still caught up on me and we're going to get back together.
And what would happen if your eyes met mine one more time?
Right. If you saw me, would you completely change your mind? Like, would you want me back?
Also, like, she and Joe will probably be in the same room again at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
So what's that going to be like?
Ooh, yeah.
Awkward.
But yeah, I tried searching faces on streets. It's like that classic, like when you know, like your crush's car, and then like you see a car drive by and you're like, oh, is that them?
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of, when you have a crush when you're younger, like middle school, high school or something, where you're already like looking for them at school. Everywhere, like in the hallways. But then also like maybe on the weekend you're at the mall and you're like, oh my God, am I going to run into them? Like, are they here? You know, like, you're just like every corner. You're like, could they be here? Will I run into them?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the chances you'd be downtown?
Speaking of downtown, it made me think of this line.
I thought I saw you at the bus stop, I didn't though.
Which only adds to the whole Joe context, because like the one was replaced Invisible String, okay? Right? On the Eras tour?
After the breakup was announced.
So she used to sing Invisible String. It was then replaced by The One. The first line of The One is, I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit. Right? Would have been fun if you would have been the one is a direct call out to Joe. Okay. So I thought I saw you at the bus stop. I didn't though. Is her tried searching faces on streets. Like, I've been looking for you. I've been wondering if you're out there. I wonder if we're ever going to cross paths. So like, to me, this is just further clues that this is like about Joe / ex chances of meeting on a street. Oh, it's just so sad.
Yeah.
It's just so sad. Oh, okay.
I know.
Pre-chorus 2. Here we go.
Does it feel alright to not know me? I'm addicted to the if only so.
Yeah, these pre-choruses are so good.
The directness is like so good. Does it feel all right to not know me?
That's one of those Taylor lines that just hurts.
I'm addicted to the if only. Like, I am addicted to this idea of like, well, if only he saw me, or if only we had one more conversation, or if only I didn't say XYZ, or if only, you know what I mean? Like,
if
I'm
only
addicted to that.
Different. Yeah.
It's like the desire to control it in a way. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, does it feel all right to not know me? It made me immediately think of this.
Just don't understand how you don't miss me in the black dog when
another
Punch.
Another just one of the best Taylor songs of all time. The
Absolutely.
Black Dog. I just don't understand how you don't miss me. Does it feel all right to not know me? Oh, see, okay, again, this could mean someone that she was with for a very long time, like Joe.
Right.
And then you're broken up and it's like, does it feel all right to not know me anymore? Like, you don't know the ins and outs of my everyday. You don't know, like, what I'm watching on TV right now or, like, what I'm doing. Like, we're not talking all the time.
Yeah.
Or strangers who fell in love at first sight. Are you okay not knowing me? Like, are you just out there in the world knowing that I exist, but you don't actually know me? I'm addicted to the if only.
Yeah. Could read it both ways.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Every time I'm like, it's definitely about this. I'm like, but is it?
Right. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Chorus 2.
I look in people's windows like I'm some deranged weirdo. I attend Christmas parties from outside. I look in people's windows in case you're at their table. What if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time?
Okay, wait. I just had a theory. I just had a music theory moment. Okay. Do you hear how this like slowly, like rubato, retardado to the end, and it like gets fading like slower and also okay, listen.
The table. What if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time?
And everything else like fades out into the distance. Like there's no more production behind it. It's just her voice, right?
Yeah.
That directly illustrates the feeling that she hopes that she would get if his eyes looked up and met hers one more time. Like the world would fade away and it would just be you and me, and we could have this honest moment together. And like it's haunting and it's super breathiness and like vulnerable and like the way this song ends should be studied. Okay.
Also, you know that if Taylor made a music video for this song, the ending would be something.
The ending would be like them, and then it would just be like black.
And like cut to black.
Yeah. Like
so like good. It would end with them meeting their eyes one more time, and then it's just like
it would be they're having a dinner Christmas party inside, truly, and there's a frosted window pane. Think a la All Too Well 10-minute version, and she's looking through the window, and his eyes for the first time, and then blackout.
Man, now I want that.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I look at people's windows like I'm some deranged weirdo. I love like this beautiful, haunting song. And Taylor throws in a line like I'm some deranged weirdo.
Yeah. Yep.
That's so good.
It's like throwing in Sexy Baby in the song Anti-Hero.
Yes, right.
You're like, what?
I attend Christmas parties from outside. All right, we've already unpacked in our Christmas Tree Farm episode how Taylor feels about Christmas. Now, this is, in fact, a Christmas song. And so, this is like showing how Taylor uses Christmas as kind of like a relationship with like normalcy.
Yeah.
AKA what she wishes her life was like all the time. And you said like it's also kind of like a social media image to you?
Yeah, like you know how okay. So, we talked about in Christmas Tree Farm that Taylor probably feels the most normal around Christmas. Like she's at home with her people, she's not a celebrity, she probably bakes, she like has the picture perfect holiday family that she sings about in Midnight Rain, like but that's not her real life and how she romanticizes that. I think that Taylor also kind of romanticizes what it feels like to be normal and like have normal friends that post things on social media
Yeah.
You know how, like, especially post-college, people would come back home and, like, there'd be Christmas parties and people would be out at the bar and, like, people are sharing, like, photos of people just, like, drinking and gathering together and all that stuff. I sort of imagine her, like, I attend Christmas parties from outside. Everyone else is invited to these parties, and I'm looking at these parties from my phone.
Right.
Because, like, no one will invite me because I'm the monster on the hill. I'm too big for anything.
Yeah.
I'm slowly lurching towards your favorite city. I will ruin everything if I'm there. So I attend these Christmas parties from outside. I'm an outsider looking in, and I really wish I had that normalcy.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. Yeah.
I also can read it as attending parties, but not really there in spirit because she's still, like, mourning the loss of this relationship, and, like, her mind is just somewhere else.
Yeah.
But also, again, the champagne problems of it all, okay, made me think of this part of that song.
How evergreen our group of friends, don't think we'll say that word again, and soon they'll have the nerve to deck the halls that we once walked through.
So that makes me think of, you know, if this song is from the perspective of the woman who would have made such a lovely bride, it's a shame she's fucked in the head, the one who turned down the proposal. Watching their former friend group have Christmas parties without her.
Right.
Because now she's on the outside. She's no longer part of the group because, sorry, but I think he got the friends in that situation. Right?
Yeah. She's the one who said no. So.
Yeah. She broke his heart. It was glass. She dropped it. So she's watching on social media as this former friend group has Christmas parties,
dude,
without her.
The champagne problems connection in this song is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Northbound, I got carried away as you boarded your train. You took the night train for a reason.
Yeah.
And then Christmas parties.
Yeah.
Deck the halls that we once walked through. You've got to be joking me.
Right. I know.
It's such a good theory.
Crazy.
It's such a good theory.
Yeah, so I look in people's windows in case you're at their table. What if your eyes looked up and met mine one more time? Like, would you miss me? Would you be happy to see me? Would you be mad? Would you want to run away? I'm afflicted by the not knowing.
Yeah, and we'll never know. There's
like, where
no
do
resolution.
we stand?
Yeah.
Yeah. As like human beings.
That breathiness that she has at the end is so vulnerable and, like, desperate. Like you're like, she's like almost out of breath. Like, I want to play it again one more time. Let me see.
Okay.
Okay. It's chorus 2, right? Yeah. Okay.
I look in mine one more time.
You can hear, like, she's out of breath. There's like
her breath.
The catch in her breath.
Yeah. She also
good.
sounds like tired and run down. Like, this is exhausting for her.
Yeah. And it would be.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing we have to talk about, besides this being Taylor's shortest song at 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
Shortest song of her whole discography.
And it is a bridgeless Taylor song. There is no bridge. Our queen of bridges abandoned the bridge.
Yeah, like, do you think that was an intentional choice? To be like, this song is leaving us wanting more. It feels a little cut off compared to other Taylor songs.
Yeah.
So it is kind of like illustrating the idea of the song of, like, you have this fleeting moment and then you're just left wondering and
a feather
more.
Taken by the wind blowing, baby. That's us. We're just like, wait, more. I need more.
This song.
Yeah.
This song just floats in and floats away.
Yeah.
Like,
also,
it'll be gone if you before you realize it.
I do think that like Taylor often uses bridges to tell the like raw truth of it all and like really storytell. Or, you know, and Smallest Man Who Ever Lived just like pop off. Like,
Yeah.
Like a bridge is a sacred thing to Taylor. And part of me thinks that like by not including a bridge, she's leaving us with all of these theories. Like she's not telling the full story, which is probably an intentional choice. It's the choice to like not divulge all the information. So I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe. What's your favorite lyric and your rating?
Okay. This is my favorite lyric.
I look in people's windows like I'm some deranged weirdo. I attend Christmas parties from outside.
I love it. I love the deranged weirdo line. I love the attending Christmas parties from outside. I just love it. Like to me, it's the whole vibe of this song.
Yeah.
Like remember in our Christmas episode, I said like you never really like notice the Christmas parties line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's all I think about when I think about this song.
I was like, oh yeah, there is Christmas in that. You're like, duh.
Yeah.
You're like, this is a Christmas song.
Yeah. Laura, it's a Christmas song. Yeah, so that's my favorite line. And I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Although
I'm glad.
Now, like, I kind of want to give it like an 8.75. I'm going to change it.
Same.
8.75.
I'm changing my score too. Originally, I had this lower too because last episode you were like, Laura always gives like these high scores, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is an 8.8 for me. Like, this is an 8.8. Like, like this is obviously like one of the first songs I was like, that's a great song. My favorite lyric is this.
Does it feel alright to not know me? I'm addicted to the if only so.
Just the simplicity and like the absolute stab in the heart that both pre-choruses have, but like, does it feel all right to not know me?
Just
Ouch.
kill me. Yeah.
Ouch. I'm addicted to the if only. Oh yeah. Like,
so good.
Yeah. That is playing scenarios in your head. Like if only, and then, you know how like when you're younger, you like make up conversations in your head that you're going to have. And like, then I'm going to say this and then he's going to say that. Then I'm going to say this and blah, 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 blah. Like you're addicted to that feeling of like, if we have this conversation, if only we can talk, like, yeah, it's just, it's so good.
You know what I would love for this song? I would love a version of this song that's just the background instrumentals.
Yeah.
Like no vocals. Let me just hear everything that's like what she did with I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
Yeah.
Give me that for like every song on Tortured Poets.
Yeah, I know. The production of this is so good too. That's why I want her to continue like experimenting with all these like fun little production like songwriters that can hop in. I don't want her to change her method of her madness by any means, but like it is really cool to have another creative person at the table. Like it's fun.
I also think in general, like a lot of people online love to say how Tortured Poets would be better with better production. But I think that the people who say that, it's like they think that production is only good when it's like flashy. Whereas like even like when we talked about The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, I had always kind of thought of that song as like I wish that song had a little bit more production, you might say. But like when we really broke it down and we talked about it and you were like pointing out the little things that Aaron does in the background and like the orchestration, it's just not like flashy pop music. But it is like hauntingly beautiful in its own way, in ways that like we kind of got on like Folklore and Evermore, but even quieter sometimes on this album.
It's subtle, but like I do think that it's subtle because this is literally her writing. Like this is her like, this is her manuscript. This is essentially like, she's like, listen, I'm all for writing the pop hits.
Yeah.
But like, I got to get this out.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story to tell. And
right.
In a lot of ways, like the production kind of takes the back seat, or it's like a little bit more restrained than I think people want it to be. But also like that's kind of what makes it brilliant. So yeah, if you actually listen, like it is like this song alone is like so cool.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. Okay. This song as a recipe. Why don't you go first?
Okay. So, like I've said, this song is a Christmas song. And when I think of this song, it's so interesting because it both evokes the feeling of standing outside on a sidewalk while people inside are cozy and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the way this feels. But at the same time, to me, it brings up that image of the coziness that she's looking at so clearly. So I feel like my brain image for this song is like standing outside of a Brooklyn brownstone, looking in like a big bay window that has like the warm glow from inside, and there's like a Christmas tree in the window, and you can see people gathered, maybe having dinner. Yep. So to me, this song is actually something cozy and warm, like bolognese, like a cozy Sunday dinner that you would have with like family and friends on a cold winter evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going with like bolognese.
It's interesting because like I have two recipes. One is similar to yours, where it's like that cozy feeling inside. It's like savory, rich, like coziness. I did French onion soup, specifically that French onion casserole dish that like you've made.
Oh, yeah. That's not really soup. It's like, okay, we'll have to like, although I don't even think you can get the recipe online anymore, but it's from the New York Times. It's an old recipe from the 1940s.
Yeah, it's so good. If we can,
really
we'll
like
link
a casserole.
it. Yeah, it's basically a French onion soup casserole. Super carby, delicious.
Yeah.
Savory, cozy vibes. In fact, I need that recipe, so send it to me. Anyway.
I can send it to you.
If we can, we'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah.
And then I said, so like that's a vibe, but also I get the feeling of like if you've ever put a hot toddy or like a hot whiskey drink in a flask and walking around on a cold street. That is something that Luke and I used to do in, you know, living in like Lancaster while we're like walking to a friend's house to go to a party. Is like, it's that feeling of like, nobody knows that I'm drinking. But like, it's hot and like, but like, because it's hot, everything else feels colder around you. And I get the same feeling of like looking in at a brownstone or at a really fancy apartment with like warm window light coming out and like you're on the outside looking in and like you're having a hot toddy and like it's just really cold where you are. And yeah, it's definitely just. Yeah. Yeah. It's such a illustrative like song. So yeah. She's done it again, people.
She did. So for our next episode, we're thinking we might do the Black Dog.
It's time. It's time.
It's time.
I cannot wait to do an emo pop punk roundup. we're gonna have to get the starting line going, okay?
Yeah.
We need to talk about Swemo culture, okay? This is something we have to include. Okay. Anyway, I'm excited.
Yeah. Also, remember, after our little outro here, stay tuned for a little preview snippet of our first Patreon episode. We're giving you 5 minutes of it. So, hopefully you enjoy. It's a snippet for the Swifties, for sure. I mean, yes, the whole episode is for the Swifties, but specifically the snippet I included. So, stay tuned for that.
Very exciting.
You can find the Patreon at patreon.com/blankplatepodcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys, what a fun episode. I think we should sign off, and then you'll hear our little snippet at the end. So let's sign off.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining. And if you'd like to support the pod, please give us a follow at Blank Plate Pod on TikTok and Instagram, and check us out on YouTube too, and subscribe.
Yeah, and you can also check out our website at blankplatepodcast.com. You can email us at blankplatepod@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail or text us at 717-382-8313 to share all of your theories about this song. Let us know how you read this song. We're truly dying to know.
Mm-hmm. And if you're enchanted by what we're doing here, support us on Patreon, which is linked in our show notes. We're having the time of our lives there.
Yeah. And until next time, we had the time of our lives with you.
And it's time to go.
Bye.
Bye. And here's our clip for Patreon.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Let's get into the pre-chorus. Let me pull it up.
And if history's clear, someone always ends up in ruins. And what seemed like fate becomes what the hell was I doing? Babylon lovers hanging lifetimes on a vine. Do you miss mine?
You guys. Okay, verse by verse before we get to the big one.
Right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And if history's clear, someone always ends up in ruins. So knowing my history, this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And what seemed like fate becomes what the hell was I doing? Like,
ooh, I love that line.
I love that too. Like, what was I thinking? In hindsight, this was so stupid of me to do that.
Yeah. I also feel like this is definitely a line that Taylor can relate to with Maddie Healy.
100%.
And what seemed like fate becomes, what the hell was I doing?
Right.
You know?
Like your manic episode of thinking like, this is talking rings and talking cradles.
Right. Yeah.
To like,
you were a toxic fuckboy.
This was a manic episode.
Yeah.
For sure. And then here's the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Babylon lovers hang in lifetimes on a vine. Oh, as soon as the Swifties heard that, we ate that up. We ate that up. Okay.
We did.
So, okay, a little history lesson. Babylon lovers refers to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which are the only wonder of the ancient world which has never been discovered by archaeologists. And it's been disputed as to whether or not it even existed at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have no proof of it besides stories and writings about it, which is why Babylon lovers essentially is lovers that no one even knew existed. They were secret. They were not known to the public. And of course, as Swifties, we think Babylon lovers, and we think of this line from Cowboy Like Me.
Now you hang from my lips like the gardens of Babylon.
Yeah. I also think that it refers to like something fragile that needs to be taken care of, because the gardens of Babylon were kind of like mixed in with the architecture. Like it was not natural. So it probably would have taken a lot of work to like keep it looking good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like not only is it a thing that like maybe didn't exist because no one really knew, but it was also kind of like special and precious and fragile.
Yeah. And like lifetimes on a vine made me think of like, okay, if we are like a vine of Babylon's Hanging Gardens, like there's lifetimes on this vine, like we are one of a million other relationships that no one knew about and were secret, hanging like we were the vines of the Gardens of Babylon. Like we're not the only people who have had secret relationships, but like this was a thing. We know it existed, but Yeah. Also, did you hear that slide guitar in that section? Okay. Once again, let me pull this up. This is so good. And when you hear this slide guitar, I want you to think of I Can Fix Him. No, really, I can.
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
And if history's clear, someone always ends up in ruins. And what seemed like fate becomes what the hell was I doing? Babylon lovers hanging lifetimes on a vine. Do you miss mine?
Just saying.
Yeah. I love that you're pointing out all these little details that I hadn't heard before.
It's so good. Aaron Dessner is really fun with orchestration. So whenever I'm like, yay, Aaron, I'm like looking forward to all sorts of hidden little gems like that. Yeah.
Well, that part ends with her saying, do you miss mine? Babylon lovers hanging lifetimes on a vine. Do you miss mine? Like, do you miss, I guess, like their section of the vine, right?
Do you miss us?
Right. Do you miss us? What she says next.
Yeah. All right, here we go.